This meeting is called to order. Terry, we need to honor prior to the please stand.
We'll go to the Lord in prayer. Lord Father, we thank you for this day, dear God, and we pray that you bless this meeting. Bless all of our officials, dear God, and guide them on the decisions they make for the citizens and for the city and employees. We thank you, Lord Father, for all your blessings, especially for the cross of Calvary, where you died on the cross and arose after 3 days and went back to heaven, soon coming again. Pray for those that's lost, that they be saved. The Bible says there's one way to heaven, and it's through your blood that you shed on Calvary. Bless our community. Remember our veterans. Remember those in the nursing home and people less fortunate. Supply their needs, and we'll give you the honor, praise, and glory in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Before we get started, let me say one thing. Today's my wife's birthday, and I'd like to wish her happy birthday and tell her I love her. And Sam, I believe it's your birthday, Stan.
It is.
Happy birthday. I kind of like the old love you, but I like it. Happy birthday, Stan. Joey, call the roll, please.
Mr. Rollinger.
Here.
Mr. Cannon.
Here.
Mr. Grant.
Here.
Mr. Hatmaker.
Here.
Mayor Sanfield.
Here. Item number 4, approval of the minutes from October 2013. What's the pleasure of council?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Rollinger.
Yes.
Mr. Fannin.
Yes.
Ms. Grant.
Yes.
Mr. Hatmaker.
Item number 4, reports from your boards, committees, and department heads. What's your pleasure?
Moved to accept.
Second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Rollinger.
Yes.
Mr. Fannin.
Yes.
Ms. Grant.
Yes.
Mr. Hatmaker.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 6, any comments from the citizens? I have a comment I'd like to make. Don't forget we have Bill Archer's Church is having Thanksgiving dinners this Thursday for $7. Or up here at West LaFollette. You can go up to West LaFollette, need him, or he delivers them. Right, Johnny?
Yes.
And let's see, we got the Veterans Day parade this Sunday at 2 o'clock. We're going to raise the flag in Freeman Park at 1 o'clock. ROTC is going to do that for us. And the parade will start at Methodist Church, and we appreciate everybody coming out for the veterans. All right, that's all I have. Any announcements?
I
Nancy?
have a few, Mr. Mayor. First off, I'm taking an order. The Friends of the Library is having a big book sale November 7th, 8th, and 9th at the old Claiborne Olds Cadillac Building. So come out, bag bargain. It's going to be a really good sale. This Friday at 10 a.m. in the library, 2 representatives from the Community Health of East Tennessee will be in the library to explain the new insurance and help people fill out for the insurance if they need help. And they will be there. That's a free service. And on November the 21st, that's on Thursday morning in the library is hosting the November Chamber Coffee, so I want everyone to come that can. And then, last but not least, the Christmas parade is December 7th, and we're really going all out and working hard on that right now.
Okay. When's the next meeting, the parade committee, Nancy, you know?
The next what?
Meeting, the Christmas parade committee?
I think we meet Saturday.
This coming Saturday?
I believe so.
And which type of insurance? Is this Medicare or?
Chad just called it in and said they wanted to explain the new insurance to people and help them because they're having so much trouble logging on and filling out
Okay,
apps
that's
online.
Obamacare.
So it's the Obamacare, I'm almost positive.
And that's when, Nancy?
Friday morning, 10 a.m.
Okay, under administration, we discussed in the workshop decision regarding the interim administrator. What's the pleasure, council?
Mayor, I wasn't here at the workshop. I think each department head can probably take care of their department. And if they run into something that a decision needs to be made on, they can have the front office or yourself to call and poll us and operate that way for a while until we get to a point. I'll make that a form of
Have a
motion.
motion, have a second.
Yes.
Second, call roll.
Mr. Rollinger.
Yes.
Mr. Fannin.
Yes.
Ms. Grant.
Yes.
Mr. Hatmaker.
Let me make a comment on this. Which everybody knows, we've got to have a temporary administrator. Somebody's got to sign off on something. You can't even work people overtime without
somebody signing off for it and getting the permission to do it. Now, we didn't have any problems when you guys, the mayor, Joe, wanted Jimmy to serve the last time. There's no problem. We went through with it, which I tried to get you when I knew we was overloading Jim, because he had 19 men in there. And it's hard to operate your own department when you've got 19 men that you've got to look after. Now, we went through that source, and now, since it's not one of you guys as men, you don't want to do it. Now, let me finish, Joe. And it just, you're making a political issue out of it, and I don't know why that we can't come in here and try to work this thing together, work it for the benefit of everybody, not just one or two. Now, if you don't point somebody here now, you know what's going to happen. You're going to create a problem, and the mayor is going to try to run the show for you. I'm talking, Mike. Listen.
No, this is my meeting.
No, I'm saying it ain't your meeting. This is
Jimmy, put him
no,
out.
no. Jimmy won't get me out.
Put him out, Jimmy.
Jimmy won't get me
Put
out.
him out.
You better sit in your chair
Put him out.
because Mike
Put him out.
Stanfield is not your boss.
I asked you to sit down. Put him out.
And I'm not leaving.
No, well, you just keep your mouth shut. You
No,
just
I'm
take-
gonna keep my mouth shut either. Stanfield, let me tell you, this thing is
You don't
supposed
tell
to be
me.
5 people running it,
You
not
don't tell,
one.
you don't tell me nothing. We've got a motion, a second, we've got a vote.
Yeah, and I asked you for the floor, and I got it. Now you're
Now,
butting in.
okay, we're voting. Your time speaking is
You're
over.
just as rude as they come, Mike.
No,
It's either your way or no way.
no, it's not. It's not. It's the taxpayers.
Well, then let
It's
me
the taxpayers'
explain
fault.
my situation here.
You had your change in the workshop, Mr. Hatmaker.
You didn't bring this, we brought it up in the workshop,
We
but you
discussed
just want
We
to
discussed
prolong it off.
No, we didn't. It was brought up in the workshop, it was prolonged to council meeting now. Now, I'll give you a minute to explain yourself, and that's it, okay? You either vote yes
Wait
or
a minute,
no.
what makes you think that you can tell me what to do, Mike?
Okay. Call roll. Okay.
It's up to him.
Do what?
Are you voting yes or no?
What?
It's your turn to vote. It's your turn to vote.
Do what?
It's your turn to vote.
My turn to
We
vote.
already voted, and it's your turn now.
Yeah, and I asked him for the floor and he gave it to me.
Okay. We're done discussing, we're voting now. Now, you discussed this in the workshop. Now, you either vote yes or no, or it takes over.
Well, I vote no then, and this is, you know, but,
Motion carries. Item number 2, surplus auction money. Terry? We'll go into the surplus auction money, Mr. Blunt.
Yeah, we got the breakdown on the surplus auction, and out of 34,870, 17,807.50 goes in the general fund, and 17,062.50 goes in the drug fund. The drug fund's was already budgeted 17,250, so that basically gets their revenue. We had budgeted 10,000 for sales, surplus auction sales in the general fund, so you've actually got a surplus there of probably $7,800. I did check about sealing, like fixing the ceiling of the drug fund. It's impasse, and the state comptroller's office says it is it could be a non-recurring item, but it's a maintenance item and you cannot use it for that. But the money, the excess money didn't go in the drug fund anyway, so it went in the general fund.
Okay.
So,
So you hear Terry's recommendation, what's the pleasure of the council?
I move we approve.
Second.
I don't think we have
There's
to.
really nothing you really need to do, yeah.
Okay. We need to vote on it?
I don't
Where it
think so.
goes?
I wouldn't think so.
There's
No,
nothing.
nothing's okay. Okay, item number 3, the seal and tile repair work. We had 2 bids on it. Stan, you wanna elaborate on it?
You all have your proposals on it with the estimates. Your all's decision.
We have a bid from Mr. Doherty, and
How's this gonna be paid?
that's going to be paid.
Yeah.
We're going to borrow some money here tonight, Mr. Hatmaker. Same thing we discussed in Terry's office about 3 minutes ago.
Is that what it was?
That's what you was discussing, my walk hearing.
Yeah, well, that's the reason I'm asking. How's it gonna be paid? What if you don't pass it?
It don't go to work.
Huh?
The ceiling tile falls in, we just go for business.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. Just like it did before, because it wasn't fixed.
I can't get that. The building's probably 50 years old, I can't have it.
And I made the motion to fix it a year and a half ago, and it didn't pass. Now we're gonna, you know.
Now you gotta fix it, it's like that roof, you gotta fix it.
If we'd fixed it then, we'd probably save $15,000 to $20,000.
No, I doubt it.
Mayor, do you need a motion for us to act on this for the bidding for the ceiling?
No, this is the way, we got, the post office, let's just skip on down, hold up on the ceiling. Under police department regarding the post office, Mr. Graham's here, Steve said he'd sell it to the city for $150,000. My opinion, what council does, that's their business, it would benefit the city of LaFollette before it would benefit anybody, you know. And, that was, $150,000. And, we owe Jim $30,000 for that working here on South Avenue, right, Jim? Okay, the ceiling tile in the clerk's office, the police department, the fire department, is $277,000. So that's what we need, how much money we wanna need.
Mayor, on the post office, I was talking to Gary, tell me about the 911. They really didn't want to be involved in this, did they, Gary?
Yes, I talked to the director, Jack Wagner, and our biggest concern is moving our equipment. And he said we probably could buy it with the funds, but we may have to borrow it. We have to keep so much money in our account. We can't send a negative budget to the state or they'll take the 911 away from us. We could probably borrow the money, but we're looking at probably $200,000 to move our equipment. We'd have to move our generators, our tires, and then we'd have to remodel over there because you got to make a dispatch center, and to move all that stuff, we'll probably look at $200,000 just to move it.
Mayor, were you talking about, is that what, that's what I first came up with, is my idea was moving 911, but moving the head ends and the generators and all that stuff, it's got more expensive than I thought.
Have we talked, has anybody else talked about, you know, if we purchase it, maybe leasing it from the city, or?
Nobody's talked to me, Joe, it's just coming up here since Steve bought it at Wax Workshop. I'm pretty sure if we get the bill to do some maintenance on ourselves, we could probably lease it to somebody. I know Jerry Sharp over there at the Historical Society's outgrown that spot.
I talked to them about that. Right now, they weren't interested. So, I mean, unless we gave it to them at free,
We couldn't do that.
no, we couldn't.
What's your recommendation?
You know, you can't build that building for $150,000. I've been in and looked at it, so has Gary and Stan's been in. My recommendation is go ahead and purchase it.
Well, I'm looking at this breakdown here, and you know, I'm looking at this up here at the top. There's an estimation of outstanding projects.
Right.
Is that gonna be added to this?
We could use some of that money. If we borrow $300,000, everything we've asked tonight could come to $277,000. We can do some more maintenance on this building here and probably do a post office building.
Okay, Terry? This money is probably, what is it, $577,000? Have we got the money and a couple of those notes to cover that?
We've got 2 CDs, they probably total a little over, probably maybe 510,000. They come due March and April of next year, which would be in this budget period. If you want to use, that's community service funds.
I'll tell you what.
If you want to use that, that's.
And I'm gonna say this, you know, I'm for this, but on this outstanding projects, you know, we moved this skate park out last month. And immediately after the meeting, I went out there and there was about 12 kids out there skating. Everything was going well. You moved it, now they're skating on the post office building. They're skating on the streets in front of the library. They're skating everywhere. Now, I'll be for this, and I'll make a motion for it, but I'm for fixing a skate park for the children. If not two of them.
Johnny, we're needing $277,000. If we bought $300,000 with what stuff those kids had over in the skateboard park, could we buy some more stuff?
Without looking, Mike, I'd be afraid to commit, because, you know, you'll have to fence it where we put it, and that's expensive. You're talking about concrete. So I'd have to get some prices together and bring it back to you.
You have to fence it.
Yeah, I would, yeah,
I mean, it wasn't fenced over here.
well, it needs to be. I mean, it really does, especially if you put it out in the open. I mean, that's, again, that's according to where we put it, you know, if we find a place to,
What if we use one of our tennis courts, John? Can we use one of our tennis courts? We've got two.
that's a possibility.
It needs to be kind of simply located, or we need one on the west end and one on the east end.
But as far as upgrading the equipment itself, that would be plenty, but if we do locate it in a place such as one of the tennis courts,
Would you have enough money?
yes.
Well, then, you know,
It still had to be resurfaced, wouldn't it, John?
Once you put it in a tennis court, it's already got
it's already serviced.
You know, I was all for the post office, and I know Mr. Graham has two other offices, but unless we have a concrete, I was all for it for the 911, because there was, you know, there's just, but after looking into changing the head ends and the generators and stuff like that, unless I have a reason to buy that, I mean, and it's a beautiful building, I mean, it's awful, but can we not just table this for 2 weeks and meet in session? I know he's on a deadline, he's got other buyers, and see what we can use it for before we purchase a building that,
It's fine with me. Okay, Steve, sitting there. Steve, what do you think, bud?
Let me express my viewpoint, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Everybody else has. Okay? Which seems to me that no information gets nowhere anymore, and I had to do my own homework, which I usually do anyway. But if we borrow $300,000, we can do the 4 streets, blacktop the 4 streets that's absolutely gone. We can we can replace Jim's money back to him for $30,000. And the 4 streets will cost us $70,000, is that right? Okay, now, if we replace and give Jim his money back, that's $30,000. And then I hate to see this post office get gone, because that is a good deal, and we're not here, we're supposed to listen to the people, but we're supposed to make the decision for the people. And instead of having them making the decision for us. So I'm for buying the post office, paying the man $150,000 for it, doing the ceiling repairs and everything that we've got to do in here for the fire department, police department, the clerk's office, and the courtroom. Now, to my understanding, we've got the 2 notes that we've got is going to come mature in March and April of 2014. We can take and borrow this money from the general account. We've got it there in the general budget, you call it, right, Terry? It's in the general account?
If that's what y'all wanna do.
Yeah.
We just have to do a resolution
Right.
to add those.
And then our CD will come due in March or April of 2014. That's only 7 months away. We can pay this money back to the general account. You've not had to go through no comptrollers. You don't have to borrow no money. And it's not a big long draw that process.
The community service fund money is in the general fund, so technically it's already in fund balance
Yes,
anyway.
in the fund balance.
If that's what you wanna do.
So we're gonna borrow against our own money until our CDs come.
Right.
For sure.
Or we would just have to do a resolution to add to the budget, to make an addition to the budget for the amount of money you wanna spend, and then when the CD comes due, rather than it be allocated for community service funds, it goes back into the general fund and the allocation's gone.
And that will give us right at $20,000 that we can spend to do your project with, Joe.
I don't know if 20,000 is enough.
Huh?
My problem is,
Well,
I don't know if 20,000.
Yeah, but if we go on what we don't know, we're all confused.
Well, there's
But,
some, a little more money in there. I think when we get to the bottom line, after we do this and get to the bottom line, the selling work and stuff, I think there'll be a little
And
more.
then, we're also gonna have another 100,000 coming in, that this is the last year that we've gotta pay Lowe's, right, Terry?
Well,
2014.
Well, Lowe's and the third, payment on the note, on the capital outlay note, that's gonna be over with, except maybe for a small balance, depending on what the data is. But you're already using fund balance to do that anyway.
Right. So,
But now the skate park,
we can do all these projects, and then, when our CDs come due, we pay the money back. Now, see, this is public service, and that's what we are. This is your money. This is taxpayers' money that we're doing with. So, why should we, take and refuse anybody any service that we've got the money to pay for it with?
I think that when you bought the skate park, equipment, I think originally back then, it's been several years ago, it was about 40,000, I believe, to buy the equipment.
Mayor,
Well, we'll have 20 of the 40 if it does cost 40.
We'll have them in half, Joe.
I'm ready, I'd like to make a motion to go ahead with these estimated projects and be sure, we do the low and best bids as we go through.
Okay.
I'll second.
Have a second, Colorado.
To go with it,
Yeah.
like we agree?
Like it's laid out, yeah.
Okay.
Let's explain this to me, okay, because I'm missing, because he's got roads and stuff in, are you including the roads to be paved and everything?
Everybody.
4 of them.
To pay him back.
Let me ask this, Jim.
No, just to pay him back, what about the 4
Yeah, it's on
additional?
the 70.
4 additional.
I'm sorry.
Now, Jim, these streets, now, can they do them after they get finished with Cumberland, South Avenue? I mean, not gonna put us off, are they? Charles Wood's been put off for a year.
They will not promise at this time they can do it because they took on work that was definite and not waiting on our maybe, if you understand what I mean.
But I do know they've jerked us around long enough on these dead
They had
streets.
people willing to sign contracts on work, and, business is business. What would you do? Would you take business that people willing to sign the contract on and commit to instead of waiting on a maybe? And that's what they were doing with us. Now, they will make every effort that they can to get it this fall. A lot of it's gonna depend on the weather. But at this point, they won't promise that they can do that this fall for these 2 reasons. They've already taken on work, we didn't make a decision and let other people get ahead of us. Even though I told them, it may happen, well, they can't wait on a maybe when they've got people standing wanting to give them business. And it'll be dependent on the weather too. If we have pretty weather on up to Christmas, they'll probably get it. But if the weather turns bad, it'll be spring.
Okay. Now, Jim, they've jerked us around over here on this dead Jim parking lot for a month. All this pretty weather stuff. Hey, where's our ceiling crew at? You've come here and passed it. It should have been in here. It's supposed to be in here.
They were supposed to have been here. I talked to them last Thursday or Friday. They're trying to get caught up and get here. They're making every effort they can to get here.
Who you talking to, Kelly?
No, it's a company, AMC contractor. It's a company that does Rogers Group work. There's a contractor in all themselves, but, they do Rogers' work and then a lot of other work too. It's not part of Rogers Group. It's a completely independent company. But they did the work up here at, for Johnny, and back in the summer and so on, you know, they're a reputable company. But there again, they're just, doing the best they can do with the workload they have.
And Jim,
Yes, sir.
I don't buy that.
Okay.
I
I'll give you
don't
no
buy that.
problem
Now,
there.
listen, I love you to death.
Right.
I've been preaching all summer to you to
Right.
get Rogers Group in here. Don't wait, Jim, till it gets cold weather and they have to quit.
Right.
Oh, I won't. I'll get them in here. Well, I talked to your gentleman
Exactly.
down there when me and you and him met. He said, I'll get in there and get that blacktop before cold weather gets in here. Now, it done just exactly. I said, Jim, stay on top of them. Didn't I say that? And do everything we can do, and maybe you have, but we need, if these people are gonna continue to treat us this way, you need to be looking at another source, I would.
Now, we're gonna complete the contract that we already have, the STP grant. This
We'll be
next-
very careful signing another with them.
Pardon?
Be very careful signing another with them. Because if you do, you get a date when they're gonna start and a date when they're supposed to be finished.
This extra work that we're talking about is what they want from us.
Now, sometimes you got, you know, you've been in business long enough to know you gotta pinpoint these people and demand. And if that's what it takes, then do it. You've got my permission.
I can go back and pull the records and show you the dates and times on how long it took to put this STP grant together. As soon as T-Dot, going through the schedule, as soon as we got them to approve one phase, we did another. As soon as they approved it, we advertised for bids and got bids. As soon as they approved the bid, see, the bid had to turn around and go back through T-Dot again for their approval.
I'm talking about the 400,000 that's done been appropriated
Yeah,
now
but I'm
to
trying
pay this
to
street.
explain why that it's taken this long. As soon as T-Dot approved the bids, or the bid, we signed the contract with them, and the most the 90 days is a standard contract. They have not run over their 90 days yet. Their 90 days is not up till, I believe it's 15th, one day next week. If they don't get bad weather, they'll finish that paying this week.
But if it does, then you won't get no blacktop.
If it runs past the 15th, then they have to pay a penalty, liquidated damages,
No matter what,
no matter what. If they go past the 15th with the paving part, then they have to pay us liquidated damages, have to pay us a penalty.
That's
but
what
now,
STP money, right?
Yep.
Just STP, okay.
if you were them, what would you do? It wouldn't make any difference what the weather is. I tried to get that done before the 15th if it was 20 below zero. And they'll try it on you if you let them do it. They done it 1 year on us,
Yeah.
and they'd come back and redo the whole thing again. So you'll end up with, you know, how many times you have to do anything to learn? It's just over and over and over.
Right. Exactly.
Jim,
I don't know.
But
Jim?
I've pushed everything, and like I said, I can go back and show you from last winter, the dates when we got each stage approved, and, T-Dot's the one really drug their feet.
I know, I've been, I know where you're coming from, but if you don't care,
They
listen,
paved, they'll finish South Cumberland tomorrow. They'll go from there to 13th. From 13th to South Avenue. There's a good chance of rain forecast tomorrow night into Thursday. If it moves out Thursday, they'll pave Thursday. If not, they'll pave Friday or Saturday, or Saturday to finish the asphalt.
are you talking about finishing Foothills Drive?
Finishing South Cumberland, 13th Street, South Avenue, and then whatever tonnage we have left over to use on foothills. So, they should finish this week.
Well, Jim, I understand that you're a preacher and you're not allowed to use certain language. If you need some language used, call me and I'll go with you,
The
and
language
I'll
needed,
get their attention for you.
the language needed to be used on T-Dot where the language needed to be used. Getting them to approve these various
Now,
steps
this
you
if
have
we
to
put off,
do.
I don't buy it, I just don't
Okay.
buy it, I'm not cut that way.
I'm sorry.
Jim,
Yes.
if you don't care, have that guy on the ceiling, he's probably not give me a call tomorrow.
Okay,
Give him my cell phone number. If Kelly needs to call me on these other streets, Kelly should have my cell phone number, have Kelly call me, okay?
okay.
I have a
Mayor.
motion to say.
I want to clarify that I did state, you know, we hadn't actually approved a ceiling repair work bid as such, but I did
I know
say that it was the low bid.
I know it. I have a motion second on this $300,000. Call the roll, Joy.
Mr. Bollinger,
Yes.
Mr. Fainan,
Yes.
Ms. Graham,
I have a conflict with part of the motion, however, I vote yes.
Mr. Hatmaker.
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay, under Public Works, Jim, you want to talk about that STP grant for the sidewalk up here at Junior?
That is a 80-20 matching grant. The grant was for $90,000 and some odd dollars, 90 something, I don't remember the exact number. But, we had talked when we thought we might get it, you know, back in the summer. And it is there, of course, we have to make a formal application. But it's there, we'll get it. But I just need, to progress with that sidewalk project, get the engineering started and all that. I just need to tell you to tell me if you wanna carry through with it, apply for the grant, and get the ball rolling.
I think we told you in the workshop, go ahead and apply for all
Uh,
this.
yeah,
Joe,
but I need,
what are you talking about, Joe's that sidewalk for Junior High? You have no problem with it?
No.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Mayor, on your ceiling repair proposal, you've got three different bids that total up $26,000. One of them's over $10,000, which you're supposed to do seal bids on it.
Which one?
The actually sealing the grid panels and
We took there was two bids on it, right, Stan?
There's two bids there.
There's two bids on it.
seal bids,
Yeah,
No, they're not.
They're seal bids.
Yeah, they're seal bids, yeah.
advertised seal bids.
No, no.
You're supposed to advertise seal bids on anything 10,000 or over. I'm just telling you what it's advertised seal bids.
What these were quotes, Terry.
okay. We can go ahead and vote this $300,000 and go back and publish that for the drop sale round.
You just gotta have to seal the bid, but you can go and do that.
Okay. Okay. Have a motion to take power roll. I'm sorry. Yeah, man, I got me messed up. All right, let's see. Okay, Stan, you're gonna do that, right? Make sure it gets in the paper and stuff.
Yes.
If it's gotta be done, it's gotta be done.
That's what you want, yeah.
Yeah.
So what do we do about the bids we've already opened?
We'll have to rebid.
You are the only ones that saw them.
So in good faith, that this is where that needs to stay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we good with that? Do we need to vote on that, or just? Read? Don't need to vote? Okay. Okay, just publish it, Stan, make sure it's in the paper, Stan.
How long are we gonna put?
Stan? How long?
You gotta rent 2 weeks.
Okay, 2 weeks.
Then can we come back, we need to do this as quick as possible, so can we
Just give, you have,
adjourn the session or have a special call meeting just for this?
you just have to give enough time that's reasonable.
We always done 2 weeks, didn't we?
You gonna do that, Joe?
That's fine.
Except you just
Or
want
do you wanna wait a whole month and do it again?
special call?
I thought, well, are we just gonna go strictly with low bid or we gonna go with low best bid?
That's we're gonna have to, we'll have to vote on that as a separate.
But we can set a date, just come back for that purpose.
Open bids,
Just, you can call a special call meeting to do that. Is that okay?
that's fine. It's got a certain date or anything.
And for you to call it.
Yeah,
You wanna set it now, or you want him to call it?
I'm gonna call it after we open the bids, give them, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
We have to, within 2 weeks, the, 20 days. Special call bid, thank you for that.
Stan, you got it?
What?
You gonna make sure it's the paper stuff, right? Okay. Have a special call meeting, all right.
And, you give them 2 weeks, you're going in the paper on the 7th, 14th.
You'll miss Prater. When's your deadline? Or is it? I know the other paper's deadline was today. You missed it.
If you run your Mike's paper this
That's what I
week.
said, yeah.
Yeah, in the press next week. Okay, let's do that. All right.
And we can adjourn this meeting and then you can call a special call meeting for that, okay?
Okay, under fire department, you have a letter from Chief Baird. Let me read this letter. It says dated November 4th, 2013 to the Mayor and City Councils from Chief Gary Baird. Changing the work schedule for the fire department. During the November workshop, changing the work hours for the fire department was put on the agenda. I want this to be taken off, but Mr. Phantom wanted it added to the agenda of the November City Council meeting. I would like to ask the Mayor and Council, do not change the scheduled working hours for the fire department. The firemen now work 120 hours, one pay period, and 96 the next pay period, totaling 216 hours per month. If we were to change the schedule hours, it would go down to 160 hours per month, and I would not have the manpower to protect the lives and the property of the citizens of the city of LaFollette. I have a hard enough time as it is to keeping all 3 stations manned and operating. Again, I ask that you do not change the LaFollette Fire Department's working schedule. Bob, you want to comment on that?
Yes, it was nothing, it was never my intention to have an 8-hour schedule. It's always a 24-hour shift. But in talking to some of the firemen and Chief Baird today and everything, and they're all in compliance, it's gonna take some of us to assist them. We're wanting to start a program called First Responder. And even Mike said he could get some monies for that. Well, First Responder, as we respond to wrecks and other tragedies, and there is sometimes we're not able to help. And by having these firemen trained to be first responders, if we were first on the scene, we can assist in any tragedy. And I think it's a good thing. The fireman wants the training. Gary wants to give them the training. The captains want to give them the training. Now, what we have to do to make sure they are freed up for this training is we make sure we stay on the 24-hour shift. We also need to be able to swap shifts that Gary's agreed to do. Now, talking to Wanda, we'd like to swap the shifts in the same pay period if possible. If we can't do that to get them the training, because these trainings will come at a different time, we'll have to go back and redo that. But right now, we'll have to, the swapping the shift with the captains or the department heads, okay, will be fine. We're having a problem with Kelly days because you can't take your Kelly day if one person's on vacation. So Gary and I have talked about that also, and we need to hire at least 4 more auxiliary firefighters. It's not going to cost the city any money because right now we're going into overtime. It's actually going to save the city some money.
Overtime is eating us up, not only the fire department, but the police department is eating us up.
And we need to, one more time, go back to look at comp time. Now, I'm not ready to do that right now. We're still looking into that, but I don't think we need to make a motion to do this. We just need an agreement that Gary can hire 4 to 5 more auxiliary officers so we don't go into overtime. They also can change the shift, the firemen themselves can change shifts. And we need to really look at going back to comp time. I don't know, Terry, I don't know if that's the way they do this now, the federal government. I don't know if we can do that, but right now I'm just looking at changing shifts. adding more auxiliary and approving them to go and for the training for first responders.
I've always been for first responders, you know. I think it's great. Gary, you
Yes.
heard Bob.
Yes.
What do you think about all this?
Yes, we need to change with the times. Most of our departments are first responders. What I'll have to do, I'll do a proposal on our SOPs, each y'all approve them. I have several right now that's going to training, they're going on their own. And I got some that's, when I hired them, I reckon they was, first responders. So, probably we'd have to train about half the fire department. Like I say, we need to change with the times.
Right. And Gary, you know, I'm on the medical foundation board, the hospital money.
Yes.
And we just funded some money through that board to the rescue squad to buy some jaws of life and stuff. If I'm not mistaken, $15,000 some dollars. They wanted to opt go see it for a 3-year period at $15,000 a year. We didn't do it. We just did it for 1 year. And I'm pretty sure that if you bring a proposal before the medical foundation board, that I'm pretty sure the board can fund some of this equipment stuff.
We'll have to have some money, because we'll have to have some of these supplies, and, like turnout gear, if we do with this, we're gonna get our turnout gear contaminated, and, it's expensive.
Right.
And right now, I have a hard time trying to get washed, because the department don't have anything to wear while they're washing and drying. So I'll have to have some money to do this. I'll have to buy some extra gloves and stuff, because, they don't wanna wear them, and I don't blame them, I don't wanna wear them either. You get, blood and stuff on them.
Eventually, it is gonna cost the city a little money, but we will have an excellent fire department, second to none. And Gary, while we're at it, we probably need to extend the certification time from 3 to 5 years. You don't have a problem with that, would you?
No. It's
So-
just in our SOPs at 3 years now. I just have to change it. We just need to change the SOP.
That goes through you.
Yes.
Do you have a problem with that?
No,
I forgot to talk to you about that today.
I don't have a problem.
It's urgent.
Is there, go ahead. Is there anything the other firemen, the comp time, we're still having a little problems with, we'll work on it, but changing the shift and getting you all trained to be first responder, is there anything else you all need from us?
Well,
Not a pay raise, see, Sam. I was kidding you, Charles, get back.
There's actually, I think some of the men was really hoping to go into the education, not necessarily to take it away from the squad, but if you do the education part with us also, the education and first responders, two different things. First responders medical education is actually, retrieving someone from a damaged vehicle.
Okay.
And the education part of that, that's gonna be a little bit more expensive to get started, not a whole lot. And a lot of the men are looking at education, and we're not trying to get away from using the squad, for education, just, the men's found times where Mike knows himself, he pulled up on one wreck, as we pulled up, cars backed up, time the squad got called, they were volunteer, time they got there, got the jobs, got through the traffic, got there to get someone out, it was like 15, 20 minutes. We have, half of our department is already, actually, matter of fact, more than half, is already trained and certified in this. And we have a state instructor that works for us. All we really need is some equipment to actually do this. And we're probably the only fire department around basically now of our size that's not doing it. But I don't know if you really realize it or not, but education and the first responder is two different things.
But they work hand in hand.
They work hand in hand.
You can't get the person out, you can't help them.
True. Yeah.
Well, let me say something. The wreck that Charles is talking about, I've been on a lot of these wrecks, I work for the city, I've been on a few wrecks since I've been in politics. But I was in a meeting in Lake City, and come on the radio, there was a wreck in front of the IGA, a bad wreck. Okay, I got caught at the red light in Carroll. I kept hearing something with sirens trying to get around all this traffic back at Carroll heading toward LaFollette. It's a rescue squad truck, and he was taking the grass or anything he could to get by his traffic. And I thought to myself, short God, he's not coming to LaFollette to IGA on that wreck. By the time I got from Carroll to IGA, that's where he was going. There sat 2 fire trucks, don't tell how many firemen, 4 or 5 police cars, policemen everywhere. Here's this lady trapped in a car, and I thought, what are we missing here? If this lady's gonna die in this car, I want her to know somebody's trying to help her, not standing there waiting for the car to catch on fire and can't get her out of it. And I've pushed for this first responders for a long time. I've not said a whole lot about the council, but I talked to some of the farmers, and they sent me some prices of some equipment stuff. But I'm pretty sure I can get this funded through the medical board. I really believe I can do this. And I think it's a great idea, really do.
Do we need to vote on this, Mayor,
No.
or just Gary, let Gary?
Now,
Let
on
Gary-
the excavator, there's some liability there, we have to talk to Reed.
Well, I just talked to Reed.
There's some liability.
Let me ask you, Gary, how long you been the fire chief?
About 14 years, I guess,
How many?
14 years.
How long you been at the fire department?
I hate to say, but I've been there almost 40 years.
30 years.
40.
Now, Bob, how long you been on council?
Oh, since 1996.
1996. That's what we need, is a council member telling a department head how they need to run their department.
I didn't want
And
to.
if it's not broke, don't mess with it. If Gary, short as God, if he's been there the length of time that he ought to, if he's not, he ought to be there. He ought to know what he's doing, and if he don't, we need to get rid of it.
Well, Gary and the other firemen.
And his men, they ought to know what to do.
Yeah, we're not gonna get rid
You
of nobody.
ever ride a truck, Bob?
Well, the reason
I
I'm
should
bringing
ask
this,
you that, I know that.
hey, the reason I'm bringing this up is because we need the training. The time has come, and really, I don't think Gary or any of the firemen thought we would give them the money, but we found a way through the mayor being on that board to get this money. So, we don't need to make a vote. We just put it in practice, Gary and the captain will put it in practice, let's go with it.
Yeah, Gary, you need to get with June Wilbur. She's the secretary. Lucy Loberton is the chairman of that medical foundation board. And I've got some literature I can give you in my car to put you a program together you sent.
Well, there's probably no liability on the first responder, but the excavator, we're gonna go with it.
I don't know.
I'll have to get with Reed, because there's a lot of,
I don't know if there's any, this is Reed's expertise, but I wouldn't think there would be, because you've got a good Samaritan law in the state of Tennessee. If you're up on a wreck and somebody's trapped in, you try to help them, they die, it's not your fault, you tried. Whether it's taking your knife and cutting their seatbelts off, or whatever.
I'm not sure that there wouldn't be more problems if we didn't try to help.
Probably. That made me feel bad. Here's all of our employees standing there, and that lady trapped in her car, and most of these farming, a lot of them was there, and they know what I'm talking about.
Can I make a comment? Excuse me, I want to say, I appreciate what y'all do and wanting to further your education, not only to better yourselves, but to have a better fire department for our city. And, you all don't have to do that. You can, do whatever just stay how you are, but I appreciate y'all stepping up and saying, hey, we want more training, to be able to provide a better service and probably save more lives. So
Yeah.
I just, I applaud you all for that.
they on behalf of the fire department, I think.
Hey, we really got some good, we got probably 80-some employees. We got some good employees, But going back to, these sick days, we give you vacation sick days to use, you earn them. But a lot of them are abused, and the department heads know they're abused. It needs to stop. It needs to stop tonight. Okay. All right, Reed, anything, sir?
No, I'll get with Gary and we'll meet with, if they move forward, we'll talk to our liability carrier, he'll.
Okay.
Now, this is all Mayor too spent, and it depends on if we get the money from the foundation, because we're probably looking at.
Well, if we don't, we'll bring it up in front of the city. I'm sure if we can pave 5 or 6 roads and buy, and fix this and this, we can get some money to do this, because this needs to be done in the next 6 months, something within 3 to 6 months. Don't you think?
Yeah, Gary, I promise you tomorrow, I'll call some of the board members and get their input. I'm pretty well positive they'll go along with this. We funded so much stuff for people in Campbell County.
Okay.
And we give them.
We'll start.
I think last year we did $100,000 to a health clinic up Stanker Creek. $100,000 is not, hey, I'm gonna lie to you, it's a note, here's your $100,000, make this thing work. And they didn't make it work. They come back next year and want another $100,000. Well, sometimes you gotta step up to the plate. They didn't. And they blame the board for their failure. it come out in the LaFollette Press, the reason they shut that thing down, it was the LaFollette Medical Foundation. That's a lie. We tried to help, but you abused us. You know, but I promise you, I will call them tomorrow.
Well, let's try to get this program started within 6 months, okay, Gary? I mean, let's have it operational in 6 months.
Okay? Okay, let's see. Under ordinance and resolutions, item number 1, resolutions 2013-08, resolution to amend the original 2013-2014 fiscal year budget. You have a copy of it? Terry, you wanna go over any?
Pardon?
Resolution to amend the budget?
That's just what we discussed at the workshop, it's just a
It's
simple
got a copy
resolution.
of the packet. Any questions? What's your pleasure, council?
Move to approve resolution 2013-08.
Have a motion by Bob, have a second. Have a motion, second by Joe. Call it roll.
Mr. Bollinger?
Yes.
Mr. Fanning?
Yes.
Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Mr. Hatmaker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Being no further business, I'll see you. This meeting's adjourned. This session. Right in session.
We pick a date to that.
Call, a special call meeting.
Call order. Here for order. Please.
Chairman Bollinger?
Here.
Mr. Fanning?
Here.
Ms. Graham? Here. Mr. Hatmaker?
Yes.
So there being no business,
Well, I've got-
Motion.